If you're a woman and you're hearing about this new place that cannabis has in society, maybe there's some questions around, well, if you're a mother, what place can cannabis have in your life? Is there going to be stigma that's associated with it? What about cannabis and your cycle? What about cannabis and sex? Cannabis and product selection? All these questions are something that I'm not going to be able to answer. So we've got a community of On Tracker to come in today to follow up on the work that we did with B last week to bring you a special episode exploring women in cannabis. This is episode 22 of Higher Living with Chad. Let's go. Hello, it's Chad for episode 22. And last week, what a ride. We went in and saw the soul of cannabis, a trailblazer in B. Muhammad. And if you didn't have a look, I suggest you have a look at that now and then come back to this, because this is like a part two. We're going into what is it like to be a woman who takes cannabis and who works in cannabis and is part of the industry. And there's several questions that I wasn't able to answer. So we needed to bring in a range of people to be able to help us to understand some of these key pressing points that our community helped us with to look at what sort of questions that we want to explore. So I'm not doing this alone. Let's bring in the women.
Hi, my name's Kyla and I am a cannabis educator and a patient advocate here in Australia.
Hi, my name is Christina and I'm the girl behind AusCannaReviews. AusCannaReviews is a Substack where I write feature-length articles reviewing products that are currently available on the Australian medicinal market.
Hi, my name's Sharna, aka Fibro Advocate on Instagram and YouTube.
So we've got a quick little introduction thus far, but let's see, what was the turning point? What occurred for each of these different women to now be in the position where they're advocating for cannabis? Let's have a look.
I got into this space because years ago I had a really bad shoulder injury and was on opioids for a very long time, and someone gave me some CBD and I was quite nervous about coming back to the plant because of previous experiences from when I was younger and living in the Middle East for 10 years where you do not want to be caught with anything in your system. So coming back to the plant, I was able to use CBD for my shoulder pain and I realized that it was helping my anxiety, and I thought, you know what, there is something in this.
I am a chronic pain patient who suffers constantly with widespread body pain 24/7. And I have tried multiple Western and Eastern medical treatments to assist with management of my severe fibromyalgia.
I suffer from polycystic ovary syndrome. I also suffer from endometriosis. I have fibroids, and then you pair those with migraines, and my period is not good times. And so for me, again, through trial and error, not because my doctor told me this, but because from my own personal trial and error, I now up my CBD going into those periods, and it's done wonders for me. As far as I've been on medicinal cannabis since July of 2022. My last migraine was the end of September of last year. So here we are, November 2023, and I haven't had a migraine in over a year. And I do think a large part of that is upping my CBD going into my period. It's really seemed to, I guess, put me at ease, if you will. It seemed to bring my stress levels down. It's even made my cramps seem a little less severe, a little bit more tolerable. So I think women would benefit from embracing a little bit of medicinal cannabis into their lives.
There's no surprises there, right? Like, we think about the industry, and if you know someone that enjoys or consumes medical cannabis, do most of them have these pressing health issues, these long-standing issues like you're seeing here? I think so, right? Which again adds a little bit of detail and allows you to connect the dots, because if you're not using it and you got a lot of people that are like, I wasn't able to get support before, but now I'm getting relief, maybe there's something to take note of.
Especially for patients with chronic pain and mental health issues, I being one of them, and it has personally changed my life since commencing 2 to 3 years ago.
The question that we've put out to these women is, what's it like to be a woman in cannabis? Let's see what they said.
Being a woman in the cannabis space, I love it. I have connected with the most beautiful, phenomenal women. It was really tough at the start. I've been in this space now since about 2018, and there are some, not so great people out there, but the women on this journey that are facing the same things as me, it is an extremely male-dominated industry.
It's lonely. It's lonely, that's for sure. There's not a lot of us, right? Like, there's a big stigma there. There's a stigma with just cannabis in general, right? A stigma. And then being a woman who's using it, it's like a double stigma. But that's something, again, has been there the whole time. Like when I was younger, consuming, in the black market, I'd look around, and at the end of the day, there weren't a lot of girls in that circle, so to speak. I went to UIC, United in Compassion, in August, and again, I interacted with some really amazing people, but the women were few and far between. There weren't a lot of us. And so I think there needs to be more of us. We need to speak up more. We need to make our voices heard to be a part of things, for sure.
So from the questions that we have, to give you real value, we need to go further into some of these pressing issues. And that's where we're going to go right now.
Judgment for using cannabis as a mother. You are often criticised as a parent, told that, you shouldn't be on this drug because it makes you unable to care for your children, which we all know is a falsity.
So I just need to pause quickly. Think about it. Think about a woman that you know, or being a woman yourself. How much heightened pressure is on you already being a mother or going through pregnancy, right? Crazy amounts. So important that this is being brought up. And let's see what Kyla and Christina have to say about this as well.
It's not frightening, it's not scary, it's in fact life-changing, but the stigma around it keeps women very, very close to themselves about what they're doing with the plant.
No, I don't think women's needs are really being addressed at all. But I don't think that that's an Australian medicinal cannabis issue. I think that's a collective issue, if you will, across the board when it comes to medicine in general.
To come on quickly, I know from some of the conversations that I've had with women, the qualitative interviews that I've done to help me understand how we can better support women, the whole focus of canna and a woman's cycle is something that we definitely need to double click on.
Now, cannabis has been used for women's cycles for thousands of years. Queen Victoria, back in the day, she would get her doctor to prescribe her or give her hash to help with period pain.
And, with periods and things like that, they've just always been, that's hysteria, or just suck it up and deal with it. And now we're just finally on the tip of having a little bit more compassion for things like that. So I definitely feel like there needs to be more research that's based on female needs. And there needs to be more women that are speaking up about their experiences, so that way, there can be more of a collective voice that says, hey, if you do check out medicinal cannabis, it might work for you.
What about sex?
Cannabis and sex is such a great topic. Every time I bring it up on my social media, I lose followers.
My advice in that area is to look into companies like Ruby Botanicals and other companies that have cannabis-based lubricants for extra pleasure. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Number one, it gets you out of your head and back to reconnect with your body, which is really important. Number two, it's a vasodilator. You're going to have more blood in the area. Your orgasms are going to be off the charts.
So if you're in the industry, listen up. The women are speaking loud and clear about what they want.
We do not have the products available that we need. There's just not enough women specific, even suppositories, which, it's a no-brainer to me. We need a compounding pharmacist to make those up for us. And it's in fact illegal for us to make our own.
I don't necessarily think that we want to be tailored to, we just want better options. So things like suppositories or lotions or edibles, things like that, aren't really available on the market right now.
High THC industry at the moment, which I do not agree with. Women need canna to be at around 14 to 18%, which is plenty for what we need. And yeah, while there are outliers, there are always outliers, there is no need for a high THC push.
So we've covered a lot so far. And if you're liking this content and it's connecting with you, please like, subscribe, or share it with that one person that you think may benefit from it. We're approaching the end, so we're going to give the women one opportunity to say a final few things. Let's go.
On a good day, I'm able to get out of bed, brush my teeth, potter around the house without complete use of my wheelchair. It's remarkable.
Love what I do. This is a beautiful space for women to enter into, particularly if they've had years of pain and they're not sure where else to go. We have an innate ability, women, to connect with our bodies, and the plant enhances that.
Regardless if you're male or female, I think if cannabis is working for you, tell someone. Tell someone. Because the more you speak up and the more you say, hey, I've got my quality of life back. Hey, I'm a happier person. I'm this, I'm that. The more you speak it, the more people hear it, the more it becomes acceptable.
Okay, so that was the final little thing. As a closing point from myself, I just wanted to send a lot of appreciation to each of the women that were able to be very brave, vulnerable, and courageous in sharing some of their personal experiences with you and their insights that I think collectively help us understand how beneficial cannabis can be for women, and also highlights points for where we probably need to go as a whole industry. To close, we've got a new update and we've got a campaign for Christmas that is launching next week. If you're a supporter of On Track and you're in our community, if you're watching this at the end, this year we're filling up someone's Santa sack. Yeah, we're going to tell you more about that next week. It's the first time that we're going to be giving back in a big way. And we're super, super excited because we want to be able to help some people at the end of the year. This is information that we're giving out. We've got our community that's involved in sharing their experiences. And it's time for On Tracker to stand up and be more supportive to our community. So with that, I thank you for watching this and stay tuned for next week because we're going to drop that news. All right. Bye-bye.